10% of the United States prison population is innocent. Although that may not seem like a lot, that equates to about 20,000 innocent people spending their days, months, and years in what measures up to be a small cage. Now, any rational person would naturally question how something like this could happen. How can a system fabricated to bring justice do the complete opposite? My name is Ashley Panzino, and today I'm here to tell you the simple answer to that question. Our justice system is flawed. Wrongful convictions are when a person is convicted for a crime they did not commit. There are many factors varying case by case on why this may happen, but today I'm going to share with you the leading, most common reasons this tragedy occurs. The first is inadequate defense. The failure of overworked lawyers to investigate, call witnesses, and prepare for trial has led to the conviction of many innocent people. When defense lawyers don't do their job, the defendant suffers. Shrinking funding for public defenders and court-appointed attorneys is only making the problem worse, as this is the majority of the attorneys representing somebody's fate. Everyone deserves the right to a fair trial and equal resources. Next are false confessions. When I first heard about false confessions, I thought to myself, why would someone ever confess to a crime they didn't commit? After researching, it all made sense. Let's try to put ourselves in a suspect's shoes for a minute. You just found out you're the lead suspect in an investigation for a crime you didn't commit. Your senses are heightened and your adrenaline is pumping. You sit in an interrogation room with authority yelling at you, saying, "You committed this crime, just admit to it." Now imagine this going on consistently for 2 hours, or 3 hours, and even 4 hours. I know at that point I would do anything to make the yelling, crying, stressful situation go away. This is the type of thing that leads to false confessions. A suspect knowing a confession can make it all stop. In addition, hours of interrogation have even proven to make suspects doubt their own memory, leading to less and less confident statements and ultimately self-incrimination. The third and most prominent reason for wrongful convictions is eyewitness misidentification. Jurors place remarkable implicit faith within eyewitness testimony, even though they have no idea how accurate the eyewitness's memory may be. Memory is extremely malleable as we store and recall it, and there are different procedures that can profoundly change how we recall our memory. Some in criminal investigations include showing a lineup where a suspect stands out or is the only one that fits the description, showing a lineup where there's only one suspect, or showing a suspect multiple times so that they become familiar to the witness. These suggested procedures consistently lead witnesses to a suspect and lead to the misidentification of innocent people. Now, I've talked all about the horrendous faults within our justice system, but we can't just be expected to sit on this knowledge and do nothing about it. DNA analysis technology is vital to the reform of the criminal justice system and prevention of wrongful convictions. Deoxyribonucleic acid is a molecule of genetic information that can be found in any organism's cells. It can be found in biological evidence such as blood, sweat, saliva, semen, hair, and skin. Tests have been done that develop DNA profiles that can then be compared to this biological evidence to find a match. Here's an example. An intruder cuts himself on a window while he's committing a burglary. The blood on the window could then be compared to a DNA profile to find a match and ultimately convict a suspect. With this technology advancement, the Innocence Project was born. The Innocence Project works to free the innocent, prevent wrongful convictions, and create a fair, compassionate, and equitable system of justice for all. They are a nonprofit organization that dedicates funds, time, and resources to DNA analysis to exonerate people around the world. Now, there's one case in particular that I really want to share with you to show the injustices of our system. This man is Ellis Wayne Felker. Felker was a suspect in the 1981 disappearance of a Georgia college student, Evelyn Joy Ludlam. 2 weeks after her disappearance, Ludlam's body was found in a creek, raped, stabbed, and murdered. To make a long story short, Felker became a suspect due to a lack of evidence and that he technically had the opportunity to commit the crime. Our justice system is supposed to presume innocence until evidence of guilt, but this is a case where guilt was presumed due to a lack of evidence showing his innocence. Ultimately, Felker was convicted to execution. His execution was delayed 3 different times, one of which because it was discovered that boxes of evidence were withheld from court, evidence that could have ultimately exonerated Felker, but his appeal was overturned because the Olympic Games were being held in Georgia at the time, and they didn't want any controversy surrounding or impacting the success of the Games. Ultimately, Ellis Wayne Felker was executed by electric chair at age 48 in 1996. In the year 2000, a Georgia judge ruled that DNA testing could be done on the evidence that was withheld. Can you guess what happened next? 4 years after the justice system executed Ellis Wayne Felker, they discovered he was innocent after all. This is the story that inspired my senior project, a run for freedom, a 5K fun run for the Innocence Project. The pictures you see on the screen show some of the planning that went into the run. I first had to figure out a date, time, and location, and ultimately settled on April 9th, 1 p.m. at the Bow High School trails. I scouted for volunteers, one of which included a nurse from Concord Hospital who donated her time to help keep people safe while riding on the trails. Advertising soon began, and I advertised online via Sign Up Genius and in person via large posters that I had made. Custom shirts were donated by Cold Springs RV and Speedy Printing, and water was donated by WB Mason for all the participants. More logistics started working their way out, like medals for the top 3, maps of the trails for the participants, tables, chairs, and tents to help set up, a megaphone to share my gratitude, and a bake sale for everyone to enjoy at the end of the run. On the day of, the run was off. I was able to share the Innocence Project story with my 35 participants who gave their time to run for freedom. Our participants ranged from grandparents to newborn babies to furry friends and even strangers from the community. I'm especially grateful for the participation of Ross, a stranger from the community that I met through my project, whose parents currently volunteer for the Innocence Project. Ultimately, the run was a success, and I was able to raise $1,025 to give to the Innocence Project to continue their work reforming the justice system. I want to say a few thanks to the people who made this project possible. My beautiful mom, who helped me prepare for the project and was my rock throughout the stress. My volunteers, who gave their time to help and cheered on participants throughout the run. My participants, who made the run a success and did their part in making the justice system a better place. And ultimately, the person who I undoubtedly would have never gotten through this project without, Miss Wu. The Innocence Project is a light within the darkness of our justice system. Our justice system is flawed, but the Innocence Project works hard with DNA analysis to reform those injustices. I'm grateful for all the Innocence Project does, but I am especially grateful for this opportunity to do my own part in putting the justice back in criminal justice. Thank you. Are there any questions?
That was great, Ashley.
Thank you.
Incredible.
Point time.
Nice job. Thank you.
Yes.
Actually, I know you want to make a career out of like the criminal justice field. How do you foresee